Plenty of power on the serve initially from Evandro. The Mexicans did well to deal with it and to direct it back across, and Evandro then making the mistake of spiking into the net, and it's Mexico who get the first point on the board. Evandro towering above the net after some good diligent work from Ontiveros to keep it alive. How did he get to this one? It was to no avail in the end. Off the top of the head of Virgen. And Brazil on the board. Beautifully angled by Ontiveros. The Mexicans have started ever so confidently indeed. They're 36th seeds at the competition, but they are a team that can cause some damage here in the World Championships. Pedro with plenty of power. And too hot to handle for Ontiveros. Brazil understanding they're in a battle here. Deflected away off the top of the net and out of bounds, so Mexico have their 2-point advantage back. Evandro's made 1 or 2 errors early on. And there's another one. He perhaps thought he was closer to the net than he was. Such a physically imposing player. Evandro at 6'11" tall, 210 centimetres. He's not quite been on his game so far here in the early stages, though. Mexico have a 3-point advantage early on. You can hear the encouragement of Evandro clapping his hands. Brazil understanding they can't afford to go too far behind early on here. Presented with a point straight back off the Mexican service error. Much better from the big man, who thunders it down to get Brazil within 1. Able to keep it alive there, able to finish it off there. Pedro doing ever so well, not just to angle it down right, but to get across to that side of the court. Had to travel an awful long way to get there to the set from Evandro. Beautifully done. Three straight Brazilian points to give them a 5-5 tie. And they'll make it 4 in a row, despite the best efforts of those two. If they keep fighting like that, they will give the men in yellow an almighty challenge, that's for sure. For the first time, Brazil have the momentum, 4 straight points. Great work for Ontiveros to break that momentum.
In plaats van in de korte diagonaal brengt de score op 6-6. En de grote man van Mexico, Virgen, mag er gaan zetten.
not able to reach that one in time. And Mexico have the lead back 7-6. Over the top of Pedro, out of the reach of Evandro. That takes some doing with his length. Somehow able to sort themselves out, and Evandro will get the point as well. Smiles on the faces of the two Brazilians. There was a bit of a miscommunication, but they've come out of it the other side with a point somehow after that tangle. Pedro able to get through the legs of Evandro and then set it for the big man to finish. Too hot to handle for Evandro, that one from Ontiveros. So Mexico edged themselves ahead again, and all the early signs are that they will be able to give this Brazil team, the second-ranked team on the FIVB World Tour, a huge test here. The Brazilians, of course, didn't really have a test in their opener. 21-11, 21-9. Getting rid of Nasir and Balhaj of Tunisia in under half an hour. Pedro delicately done over the top of Virgen.
Pedro, 9-8. And the defense player can serve the next one. 9-8, Rotterdam.
Even more delicate, perhaps, Ontiveros. Had to be a real up and down to get it over the top of Evandro. The joust to the net, but the Brazilians will win. Pedro able to force it down on the right side of the court as far as he's concerned. Brazil have the slender edge. Oh, the big block too from Pedro. After the spike attempt from Ontiveros, Pedro well positioned, rose high, got both arms to the ball. You can join the conversation with that hashtag at the bottom of your screen, FIVB World Champs. Get in touch with us here at the Beach Volleyball World Championships in Rotterdam. One more point until the technical timeout, and it's an ace for Evandro and for Brazil. And they start to build a bit of momentum as they take a seat for the first time, leading 12-9. Right down the center of the two Mexicans. Ontiveros tried to leave it thinking it had too much on it from Evandro, but in fact it was perfectly positioned, perfectly placed, and those two lead by 12 points to 9. It's a new team for this season. Pedro and Evandro earning the 12th seed of this competition, but they've performed so well on the FIVB World Tour, second in the rankings for the new season. Pedro had played in 9 events last season with Emanuel Rego, and then a couple with Alvaro Filo as well. Won a gold in Poland. Evandro played in 10 events with Vitor Felipe. Their best result 5th in Moscow, although they did win gold in Berlin and silver in Moscow the previous season. Joining together now to try and create a force at these World Championships. They haven't taken too long to get this working relationship in full swing and bring about some success. Just how far they can go on the world stage is a big question that they're trying to answer here. Down the line from Ontiveros. Did well to get it over the top of Pedro and break the Brazilian run. Pedro's going to take that one. Got a touch from Virgen on the way. And Brazil back in front by 3. Out to the reach of Ontiveros. Evandro doing ever so well to keep it alive. Now can he finish? No, because Virgen is on hand at the net. So much power behind it from Evandro, but Virgen put up the wall. And Pedro trying for the slice, the delicate touch. Not measuring that one the way he wanted to. Mexico have got within 1. Evandro with all of that power again. Almost intent just on ploughing through the blocker. Smashed it towards Virgen here. Got a bit of a touch on it to carry it out of bounds. Evandro following up with the serve straight into the net, so Brazil, try as they might, can't seem to pull away. And Ontiveros and Virgen are keeping things close here in the first set. If you are new to this sport, best of 3 sets, the first 2 to 21 and then to 15 in the decider if necessary. Pedro, did it find the line? Yes, and Brazil back in front by 2. Looked to be really close on first viewing this one. Boy, was it. The line judge ruling it in. Ontiveros adjusting well, getting it down the line and in. Mexico back within 1 again. They keep trading points with Brazil. And how can they win back-to-back points to try and get level? They can. It's Virgen at the net again, denying Evandro, not for the first time. Mexico tied up at 15. Evandro couldn't plough his way through the blocker that time. We're going to have a timeout with the score tied 15-15 in this first set. Ontiveros and Virgen have given Pedro and Evandro a humongous test, and already by some distance surpassing the tally that Nasir and Balhaj had over the Brazilians yesterday. Only scored 11 and 9 points in the 2 sets. The Tunisians, Mexico have already hit 15, and Pedro and Evandro, after that warm-up against Tunisia, now have a proper World Championships match on their hands. Both of those two, Evandro and Pedro, have gone as far as the quarter-finals of this competition before, but with different partners. Evandro did it 2 years ago in Poland. Pedro did it in 2013 as well, and then in Rome in 2011 too. So plenty of experience separately, just not quite together at the moment. Mexico, from a couple down, take the lead.
voor Mexico. En die gaan rustig door met scoren. En staan dus nu voor het eerst in deze set.
They did reach the round of 32 in Poland a couple of years ago. Well placed to do so again here in the Netherlands with their second World Championships. And they're on a roll right now. Mexico leading 17-15 in this first set. And Pedro and Evandro are in danger of losing their first set of the competition. 4 more points needed for Mexico. They've won the last 4 in a row. Make it 5 in a row for Ontiveros and Virgen. And they're just 3 away from taking the first set against the second-ranked team on the FIVB World Tour. Big problems now for Pedro and Evandro. Big finish from Virgen. The serve only just kept in. And Pedro fires into the net. Quite a remarkable Mexican run. 6 straight points. They're absolutely cruising. And Pedro and Evandro can't quite figure out what's gone wrong. Well, they needed that one, no doubt about it. Pedro able to finish. Had he not been able to help Brazil take that point, it would have been 5 set points for Mexico. Instead, they get back within 3, and they need to win a few more.
Evandro.
Virgen over the top of Pedro down the line, and 4 set points for Mexico. What a turn-up for the books. This could be the 36th seeds in the competition, in a position to take a 1-set lead over the second-ranked team on the World Tour. They've got 4 attempts to do it. Pedro denies them the first time. Encouragement from his teammate Evandro. They know now that they have to win another 3 points in a row. We've seen that Mexico can put together a 6-point run. Brazil need a 4-point run at least. Ontiveros trying to win it for them. Virgen will have a go too. Evandro is there. Back-to-back Brazilian points. They need a couple more, but they're closing the gap on Mexico. In the scope of this first set, there's no room for Brazilian error right now. We're going to have a Mexican timeout. They thought that the first set was very much in their sights, but 2 points in a row from Brazil, 1 from Pedro, 1 from Evandro. Means it is 2 set points down, 2 more to come for Ontiveros and Virgen, who lead 2018. But at the moment, in the port of Rotterdam, the wind is in the Brazilian sails. There's a look at the run. Incredible run of 6 straight points for Mexico, but Brazil have taken 3 of the last 4 and need to take the next 2 to try and extend this first set. It is first to 21, although you have to win by 2 clear points, so they need the next 2 to force it to a first set that would have to go to 22. And let's see what that timeout does for these 2 teams. The encouragement from Evandro, who's made more errors than usual in this first set. There's no room for error now. Well, straight off the timeout, Virgen with the big finish. And the Mexicans here cause a bit of a first set upset over the Brazilians. The 36 seeds at the competition. Virgen and Ontiveros getting a set over on Pedro and Evandro. Their first set lost at these World Championships. And now the Mexicans just one set away from booking their place in the round of 32. They take the first set here in Rotterdam, 21-18. So Ontiveros and Virgen take the first set, very impressive indeed, and look for all of that to be more than a match for Pedro and Evandro. Quicker around the court, smoother running, less errors. Those two struggled particularly early on, and then with that Mexican 6-point run, just couldn't quite put it together. It all seemed too easy for them against Nasir and Balhaj in their opener. Nothing easy about that first set. Mexico getting more points in the first set alone than the Tunisians got in both sets in that previous Brazilian win. A good start to the second set for them too. Ontiveros with the power. Evading the big blocker Evandro. And then too difficult for Pedro behind him. The servers just landed a little long. Ontiveros not too happy with it. Brazil get on the board in the second set. There goes Ontiveros again. That one got a touch along the way. So Mexican point. Whether it was in or out or not is questionable, but it got a touch off Evandro anyway. And when things are going your way, they're going your way. Virgen off the top of the net with the serve, and Mexico take 3 of the first 4 points in the second set. Well, there are big problems right now for Pedro and Evandro. Their final match will be against Valkenhorst and Winscheif of Germany, who you would expect them to beat. Although not if they're playing like this, perhaps. Evandro getting them just their second point of this second set. They just feel like they're up against it at the moment, like they're doubting themselves. Things aren't running smoothly, individually or as a team. Evandro beaten by the soft touch of Lombardo Ontiveros. And Mexico reached the first change of courts, 5-2 ahead, 5 of the first 7 points in the second set. After going on that 6-point run right towards the end of the first. Wonderfully done by Ontiveros to direct it back to Virgen, and he finished it superbly. So much power on this from Pedro, somehow directed back, and Virgen prodded it over the top of the defence into the backcourt. And that is way too long from Pedro, but he got a touch.
Brazil still alive. It's 3-6. En Evandro.
Brazil a little fortunate perhaps to get their third point. And they will take anything they can get right now. Ontiveros in fine form, both of them are. They just look confident and comfortable right now, full of power and purpose and positivity. Evandro and Pedro, if anything, just look a little sluggish. Pedro just able to help it over and down towards the line, got a touch on the way as well. Just there off the fingertips of Virgen. Brazil within 3. Ontiveros set for Virgen. Mexico back up by 4. They'll be happy exchanging points with Brazil from this point onwards. The final touch was off Virgen, now to bounce. So Brazil back within 3 again. Even still, a little shake of the head from Pedro. They're not playing to the top of their game, and you just feel they know it as well. They just can't seem to find their flow at the moment. Ontiveros certainly can. Wonderfully angled over the top of Pedro, down the line. Mexico back up by 4 at the next change of ends. Do join the conversation with the hashtag FIVB World Champs here at the FIVB Beach Volleyball World Championships in the Netherlands. A joust at the net, won by Mexico. And they will get the call, not once, but twice. Lombardo, Ontiveros, or rather Juan Virgen, doing the damage over the top of Pedro. Mexico have a 5-point lead in the second set, having taken the first. And Brazil have plenty of work to do. 21-18 first set for Ontiveros and Virgen, and now 10-5 they lead in the second, 11 points away from a place in the round of 32 here at the World Championships. The body language from those two hasn't been too positive throughout this one. Not even a word said to each other here. It just hasn't clicked for them today. And this could be a really damaging defeat. It would leave them with a huge challenge when they face Valkenhorst and Vinschijf in their final match. They don't want to have to rely on being one of the best third-place teams to try and progress too. This is a team that would have real aspirations of reaching the podium. Virgen and Ontiveros, the way they're playing, having beaten Valkenhorst and Vinschijf, and now having this kind of advantage over Pedro and Evandro, they will feel that they can do anything in this competition. Certainly look like a team to watch out for. Oh, it just finds the line, measured to perfection by Virgen. The Mexican momentum keeps on building. Pedro's power answering back. Evandro desperate for them to lift their game. He's the cheerleader of the team right now. There's just no stopping Virgen though. Right on the money again. Completely unfazed by the occasion, completely unfazed by the opponents, completely unfazed by that big frame of Evandro in front of him. And poor handling of the serve by Pedro. They just cannot get it together here. Mexico's lead grows to 7, and who'd have seen this kind of scoreline and this kind of performance coming? Evandro hunched over in disappointment. Pedro can't believe he wasn't able to deal with that one. Evandro deflected off the top of the net. They're saying he got a touch off Virgen. Close call. He's not too happy with it, Juan Virgen. Let's have a look here. Off the top of the net. Difficult to tell, maybe just off the left arm of Virgen. And Evandro firing the serve right into the net. It didn't start well for them. Evandro with plenty of errors early on in the first set. It hasn't really improved too much at any point. This second set has been abysmal by their standards, but take nothing away from Virgen and Ontiveros, who have put in a superb performance throughout and are closing in on a win that would carry them through to the round of 32, and a win that would send a few shockwaves throughout this competition. Pedro and Evandro have it all to do. Entertainment for the fans here in Rotterdam. At every stoppage in play as well. They're having a wonderful time. It's been fantastic weather over the course of the weekend and expected to continue through into the week. The sun has come out a little brighter across now to the right-hand side. And it's a wonderfully bright performance on court from Virgen and Ontiveros of Mexico, who just look so calm. They have been that way from the very opening serve.
Ja, zij zorgen voor een nog groter feest hier op de tribune. Transavia Pittsburgh.
So a comfortable looking lead at the moment for the team from Mexico. 14-7. Down the line and out from Pedro. The technical timeout does nothing to stop that Mexican momentum. Brazil now are left with a Mexican mountain to climb. Huge block from Virgen to deny Pedro. And back-to-back points off the technical timeout for Mexico. The lead keeps growing and growing. And it's getting, to a certain extent, embarrassing for Pedro and Evandro now. Pedro able to pull one back for them. It's a rare point, becoming even more rare the longer this set goes on. They need a few more of those. Still down by 8. Ontiveros with exquisite defense, trying to follow it up on offense too. Pedro will get it down and over, and back-to-back points for Pedro. Just to chip away at that Mexican lead. It is still a pretty sizable one. That one just finds the line from Virgen after a clip at the top of the net too. Mexico within 4 points now. somehow saved by Ontiveros again. And then he tries to get it away from Evandro. What's the call going to be? It's a Brazilian point. Mexico aren't happy. His defense has been superb today. Ontiveros seems to be able to get to anything. He thought he'd won that point, but it's not the case. Ontiveros going to have a go. Now Virgen short, delicately done. Delightful stuff from Mexico, who move within 3.
This is beach volleyball.
Brazil need 10 of the next 12 points. Huge ask for them now. And Mexico getting the look as well, just 2 points away from taking this second set in emphatic fashion. Out off of Pedro, and Mexico have almost an infinite number now of match points. It's just a matter of when and not if they will get a win over the second-ranked team on the World Tour. A hugely impressive combination. And the first one is long. Brazil still need to win the next 9 points in a row. Virgen angles it superbly away from Evandro. That's one of the most impressive performances we've seen at these World Championships here in Rotterdam so far from the Mexico duo of Juan Virgen and Lombardo Ontiveros, who secure it in straight sets, 21-18 and then 21-11 in that second set. The fans delighted in green, and the home fans in the Netherlands appreciating what has just been a tremendous effort to defeat a team in Pedro and Evandro that never really looked like getting going. Even early on in the match they had some problems, they couldn't work them out, and Virgen and Ontiveros just got better and better, more confident and more confident, and now they will move into the round of 32 and look like they could do damage to any team in this tournament. This is how they got the job done. Wonderfully angled by Juan Virgen, whose offense in that match was superb. Lombardo Ontiveros on defense, perhaps even better. A combination that is really flying now.
Come on.
Straight sets win then for the Mexicans over the Brazilians, and this is how they've done it in a time of just 38 minutes. Hugely impressive in all aspects of the game. We can hear from the winning team now, Juan Virgen and Lombardo Ontiveros.
Congratulations, guys! Big win, Lombardo.
Yeah, it was a tough game with the Brazilians, but we go ahead in this game. It's thank God, thank all the people who support us, to our coach, our family, and all these people, all these cute people in Rotterdam who support all this tournament and this game preference. No, I think it's a great experience for us to win to Brazilians, and we're gonna try to develop our best game in this tournament. So we hope so, and these things go well.
Thanks, guys.
So back-to-back straight sets wins for Virgen and Ontiveros at these World Championships. And a real problem now for Pedro and Evandro, facing a hugely tough task in qualifying through to the next round, at least as one of the top two teams in Pool L. They have to face Valkenhorst and Weinscheif in their final match, needing a win. But a bit of Mexican magic moves Ontiveros and Virgen into the round of 32.